Welcome to the Cornerstone Family Talk podcast, a conversation designed to help people grow deep and live tall. There's no better place for people to grow than in a family. So welcome to the family. You'll find out very quickly that this is a compilation podcast. One episode you may hear an interview. The next may be a story or a testimony. Or we may be diving deep into theology or church leadership. So welcome to Family Talk. Let's get started.
I'm born in Western Kenya.
You're from Western Kenya?
Yeah. So born in Nyanza. And right now I live in Busia, Kenya. That is where I work.
Okay.
I do the work of ministry in Busia.
Tell me a little bit about your wife and kids.
My wife is Mary. Mm-hmm. We have two girls and two boys. The first is Christabel, followed by the boy called Ezekiah. The third is Ebenezer. And the fourth one, the last one, is Joy.
Nice.
Yeah, and now my kids are grown up.
Yeah, and you've been married for 40 years?
40 years of marriage.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We're glad to have you here with us.
Thank you so much, Pastor.
We had a good time at church on Sunday, had a lot of fun.
You have a good church. Yeah. You have a good church and you have good people. And I loved the ministry, the time talking to people. From people, they wanted to get every bit of the word that I was speaking to them. And the church was good.
Yeah, we had a fun time. Good. God really did some good stuff.
Yeah.
We're excited about that. Mm-hmm. So tell me, what's it like living in Kenya?
Living in Kenya, I can say why I thank God because born in Kenya, raised up in Kenya, went to school in Kenya, and now I'm working in Kenya. There are challenges that we are facing in our country because of high level of poverty. Like where I was born, I was raised up in a very humble family. That's my background. The level of poverty was so high, which also contributed to so many things that I went through as a young man. And we are ministering to such like people. Like in Western Kenya, it is not a big city where I am in Busia, like in Nairobi, like in other places. So we interact with the people from the country, people from the rural, people who are they're poor. The poverty level is very high in the village. So that is where God called me and sent me to minister to these people. It is not a very easy thing to minister to such unless you have love for them. You can only reach such people with love. So generally, as I speak, Kenya, as known as third world, is developing slowly by slowly. But we thank God because we are somewhere right now. We are getting somewhere right now. I don't regret living in Kenya, and I don't regret being a servant of God in Kenya.
That's great.
Yes.
Awesome. So you guys had some floods recently come through the area that really did a lot of damage. How did your church respond to that? What did you guys do?
It was so disastrous when flood hit on our country. It was all over. It was countrywide. Even those arid areas, the desert part of our country, were flooded, and many things were being swept and carried away. Animals were being swept, people were being swept and carried
People
away.
lost their houses and lives were lost. And
Houses was merged by water, and so many thousands were displaced. Many hundreds died. And it was news every day on the TV. Come one Sunday, I just led the church to pray for the flood victims, and we were praying as I was leading them. And I had just a voice and said, "What are you doing about this?" Because in Busia there are some areas which were affected, and people are in the camps. So after prayer, I told the people that I feel deeply in my heart that we need to reach out to some of these people, because as we have blankets, we have food on the table, we've woken up from our houses, and these people are in the tents. These people are suffering. Children are suffering. So I appealed to the church to at least give some donations to those victims. And it was so urgent because these people are already in the camps, and you know, in Kenya it's not like in America whereby you hardly see the mosquito. In Kenya, mosquitoes are there, and those are malaria carriers. So I told him that now it's a Sunday, let us do something between Monday and Thursday. Let us bring in some clothes, bring in some blankets, bring in some food, so that on Friday we go and visit those who are affected by floods. And I thank God the church responded well. We got some good stuff that helped us to reach out the two camps which we were going to help. And I didn't know that it was a big thing until now the national media and TVs highlighted what we did. Is when I knew that people were desperate for this, and I appealed to other ministers and other pastors to do the same with these victims. Mm-hmm. So that is how we responded. It was a very big challenge because it was a time I was planning to travel to United States. I needed air ticket. I needed money to travel. But now I had to obey the voice of God. That's the message I was teaching yesterday, hearing and obeying the voice of God. I had to obey the voice of God. I spent a lot of money. It was like, now, what are you going to do now that money is gone? And it was not something I had planned. It's something that came to me when we were praying. So I had to obey, and I obeyed. But God is God. He will never disappoint. I thank God I'm here now talking to you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so you planted a church. How many years ago? What year was it that you started planting that church in Busia?
Now, our church planting is the passion of outreach. Myself, I got saved in an open air meeting. It was not inside the church building. It was an open air. Some people were preaching. And I was there, a very desperate young man that maybe had lost hope in many things. and began to live a very reckless life because of hopelessness, and because I was not seeing anything good coming out of my life. So I was just there. And one day when these people were preaching in open air meeting, I was there. And I listened, and because a young man, as a young man, I had also my own pride, and said, this salvation is not for young people. This salvation is for older people. We young people, we have to continue enjoying life. But now the life I was saying we enjoy, I was not enjoying life because I was a job seeker. I didn't have employment then. And in that crusade is when I opened up my heart and accepted Jesus Christ to be my Lord and Savior. So when we began this fellowship, the John Ministries Fellowship, it never went out of my mind how I received Jesus Christ. And every time I thought that somebody is somewhere in the street suffering, somebody is somewhere in the street desperate, somebody is somewhere in the street seeking the way to life. And that is how it was birthed in me, the passion of outreach, reaching out to the lost, reaching out to the needy, reaching out. That is how it was birthed in me. So it was my ministry to take the gospel to the streets. Take the gospel to the streets. Now, when our church grew up, and there were so many ministers now in our church, people who have grown up, that is the time now we began to send these people out. When we preach somewhere, what we do, we begin a discipleship center in that place, and we have to put somebody there to do discipleship, to teach those people. And that is how church planting began. And right now we have several churches running well, and we thank God. COVID almost brought us down. COVID almost pulled us down. But by the grace of God, we survived the COVID. Wow. And the churches are there right now.
And you have about 87 churches under your care?
87 churches. Yeah. That we have planted with the several pastors, associate pastors, many elders. So
that's good. How do you keep track of 87 churches and the pastors?
Well, it is not a very easy thing. You cannot go church to church. So we have regions. We have put our churches into regions. 15 churches in one region, 10 churches in one region, some 8 churches in one region. Some even have up to 6 churches in another region. So for me as a bishop, when I'm going to a region, these all churches have to come together. And when they have any regional meeting, then we come in. So you kill many birds with one stone. Than just going to each church. Whenever I go to a region, all churches in that region, they know that the bishop is coming to our region. And if there's a regional meeting, they can all come together. So you go and minister to several churches at a go.
Wow.
Yes.
So when you were starting your church, what was that like? How did you go into an area where you hadn't lived before, right? And God was calling you to start a church in that area?
It is to obey the call, and sometimes it is very expensive because you go to a place you have never been before. When I went to Busia, then I found some few saved people. Some of them were working at the hospital.
And you were fresh out of Bible school at this time, right? Is that you'd recently graduated from Bible school?
Yeah, from Bible school.
And God was calling you to Busia.
Yeah, so I went to Busia. And we began a fellowship right in my house. And the first fellowship, we had 7 people. And this fellowship, after 3 weeks, it grew to many people that could not fit in my house. And then we got a social hall in that city because one of our members was a secretary to the town clerk then, so we requested them if we can use the social hall. By that time, the social hall was a bit vandalized, and the county or the municipal council was not very much keen on what is happening in the at the social hall. There are some people who are using it to show the videos. So we began fellowship there. And it did not take a long time before we filled that place, the people, because as I told you, we were going out in the open air and preaching the open air and announcing that if you want to meet us, you come to the social hall. And then I began lunch hours fellowship at the social hall. So other believers from other churches were also coming now to the social hall for our lunch hour fellowship. So now as we continued teaching during the lunch hour, it attracted so many people, and that is how the church grew. After 7 years, we said, now it is enough. We need to get our place of worship. And 5 brothers volunteered to ride bicycles from Busia to Mombasa. I know you are well conversant with the now media. You can now check Busia, Mombasa, so how many kilometers, how many hours it takes. And these people, when they volunteered, now the rest of the church became supporters of this in the name of raising funds. And we thank God through that. We bought 2 plots, after which we added another plot. So we had 3 plots. Recently we added 1. Now we have 4 plots in the same place. Recently we bought another one. So that is how we entered into that place. And I told the people, I have a dream, and we have to build up a sanctuary of worth, not just a shade, but a sanctuary. Yeah, so God helped us, and with friends and connections that I've made, and people of the church raising funds, we have built that sanctuary, to what it is today.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yes.
How did you meet your wife? How did you guys meet?
Interesting, because there was an evangelist who was coming to our town, and we announced in the church and that we will be having morning glory prayers at the field, in the stadium where the crusade was to be. Now, I was mature enough to settle down, and I was praying that God may show me how to settle down. And it was very interesting that on the first day of morning glory at the stadium, I was the number one there.
You were the first person there.
The first person to be in the stadium. And she became the second one to be there. And we began praying, and others joined us. The following day, it was the same story. I was there first, and she came second. And we prayed. We were praying about 10 or 20 minutes is when now you see people begin to come. On the third day, she was the first, and I was the second. So I think I said there must be some writings on the wall. There must be signs that God is saying something. So I began to pray, God, if it is your will that she be my wife, then open all doors and open all ways. So after prayer, I take a bold move.
What did you do, George?
To approach my wife, and I told my wife, this is my feelings, that you become my wife. It is sometimes hard for somebody you call your pastor to come to you and approach you in such manner, because I was a pastor then. I was a single pastor, not yet married, and very strict. So she asked me to pray, and she will also have time to pray. And she went to pray, and then she told me, if it is God's will, let us move on. It means she gave me a green light.
That's great.
Yes, and now we began. I took her to my mother, because my father had passed. My mother, to introduce her to my mother. Apparently, my mother is an Anglican, and the father to my wife was also an Anglican, an evangelist in Anglican, was known all over. So my mother tends to know the father to my wife, and it was just a yes. And she took me to her brothers first, talked to her brothers before we went to see her father. And sometimes the expectations of people, I can say the expectation of her people was a little bit high, because this one is an educated woman working at the bank, and here brings somebody in the name of the future husband. So, their expectation must be a little bit higher, but the grace of God was sufficient. It took courage for me to move on, and even to talk to the brothers and sisters and parents. And because God was in it, it went on very well. It went on very well. We planned for a wedding. We wedded, and here we are.
Nice.
Good.
Very good. So you got saved through an open air meeting.
Yes.
And because of that, you have a passion for doing the same thing.
That's the thing.
And that's really your method of reaching people. You guys go out and have the open air meetings, preach the gospel, and people come to faith through Jesus. And then you invite them to join your church.
Yes.
Wow.
I thank God because it is my passion. It is my passion. And through friends, God has done so many things. Equipment is not cheap. Getting outreach instruments is not a very cheap thing. And I thank God I've never raised money in the church to buy equipment. Through well-wishers and friends, God has opened the door. We have at least some equipment we use for outreach. And in 4 years back, God also blessed us with a truck that is now helping us to carry the equipment. We are not yet where we really want to be, but at least we are somewhere. We are doing the work. And this is the only method we are using for church planting and for soul winning. It is the only method we are using for this.
Wow.
Yes.
And so you can go out and play music and people will come.
Yes. We have a team. We have outreach team. We have young boys who do the equipment and do sound and other things. We are a team. When we go out, we always go out as a team, not more than 15 and not less than 10. Yeah, it's a good team. And we have an outreach team, the young people in colleges, and some are out of college, some are employed. When we want to plant a church in a given area, what we do, we send a team there. 40 people, 50 people, even up to 80 people in that area. For 3 days, house to house witnessing. They comb their homes.
So they're knocking on doors, going house to house.
Knocking on the doors. And witnessing for Christ and leading people to the Lord.
And people are open to that. They're open to having their doors knocked on and open and having a conversation about Jesus right off the bat like that?
Yeah.
Wow.
And before even we begin our crusade, our outdoor preachings, we already have people who are born again. We already have people whom we have reached in their homes. So planting a church becomes fun to us. It is enjoyable.
Yeah.
Okay, you may find rejections in some places, but if it is your passion, even when you are rejected here and you are accepted here, you'll find that you have joy. Yeah, and it is somehow costly because when you plant a church, these people, they don't have a place to meet. They don't have a church building. So what we always do is we buy the iron sheets. Yeah, the iron sheets, we roof it, and even the walls we put iron sheet for the start. For the start, we can buy 50 chairs, plastic chairs, and put in the building, and then we'll tell the person we are planting there, now you have where to begin from. Now you can begin from this place. If it is a leased land, we pay 6 months in advance for the leased place. And if the pastor is going there to rent a house and to live there, we also pay for the rent 6 months to be there for the beginning as we monitor how the church is. Believe you me, some churches, after 6 months, they will be able to take care and also pay some bills.
Wow.
Yeah, in 6 months. And if pastor is also aggressive enough, doing follow-up, because when people get saved at the crusade, they give their lives to God. What makes them to stick in the church is follow-up. If you don't do a thorough follow-up, some of them will just go like that. So every time people get saved, we write their names and we take their contacts. We reach them on phone for those who have phone. Those who do not have phone, we go to where they live. Yeah, so some pastors are very aggressive. In 6 months, it is enough, more than enough for them to be stable.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Then you also have a Bible school where you're training people to be pastors.
Yeah, we have a Bible school in our church where we are training pastors, we are training those who want to get into ministry. It is doing so well. And this one is a platform of church planting. It is a platform of church planting. After graduation, we take them to other churches to be an associate pastors and to be there being overseen by the senior pastor of that church. And that pastor will make a recommendation to us that this pastor now is mature enough to be planted out.
Wow.
Yes.
That's awesome. That's a good way to do it.
Yes, sir.
Having that Bible training and then also a mentorship program where they can be, further trained up and really do hands-on stuff before they go out and plant a church.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. Well, anything you want to share with us about ministry or life or anything else you want to share on the podcast today?
Fair enough. I know I'm talking to friends. I know this broadcast is reaching so many people. And what I may say is if there be somebody there of like-minded, having a passion of soul winning, and also can assist in church planting, we are appealing to friends to stand with us so that this fire may keep on burning. Because it is our passion. We want to reach more people in our country. I know that when we come out here, when we come to America, America is good. And sometimes you may be tempted to want to stay in America. But for me, my call is not in America. My call is back home. And I always come and go back home. And I thank God whenever I come to America, there's always a step I take in the ministry back home. So we are appealing to well-wishers and also like-minded, because there are people also in America who have passion of soul winning, and they can support us. Mm-hmm. And one way also is to invite missioners, because we are there, we are on the ground. When we receive missioners to come to help us, even in this door-to-door evangelism and crusades, it is a very big boost. It is a very big support. If a mission team come to us, we receive them, and we do ministry with them. it is always a big boost. So those who are listening to us and those who may want to support us, they are more than welcome to help us further this calling and this passion that we are having back home in Kenya.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes.
Let me ask you this. You go out and you plant a church, and you have, maybe 300 people that joined right off the bat after some open air meetings? Or not that many? 100?
The time we do outreach, many come, some even more than 300. They come, give their lives to Christ. But those who will come to the church, it is not that big. It's not that big because, some people, they have family, religion, background, said, okay, I was not going to church, but now that I am led to Christ, I will go to my mother church or the family church. They go to their churches. And those who come and decided to come.
But it still could be a sizable group of people.
Yes.
So how do you, what's that size look like approximately? I know every church is different, but how many people you think you might get off of that?
Like 60 people.
60 people.
Yeah.
So you have 60 potentially really new Christians, right?
Yes.
And now you've got the job of discipling 60 new believers.
That is the challenge. Because these are 60 new believers. Some of them, they are mixed because they are people who are churched and they're now at home. And this crusade or this outreach has come with revival. Sometimes we meet backsliders, those who are once born again,
Right.
and they left the church, and now they are in their own world. And you see that element of Christianity, of godliness, is still in them. So when something comes on that line, they get revived. And sometimes they wake up and they say, now I will go back to church. So those ones are also many.
Yeah.
There are those whom you will struggle with. For example, you minister to somebody who is addicted with smoking. This person will not just stop it immediately because you have led him to Christ. There will be that addiction that will be revisiting this person, and that this one needs a pastor very close to this person in order to overcome this addiction. It is work.
So what's your discipleship process look like then?
My discipleship, they are basics of new converts. It is like teaching young children, A, B, C, D. So in Christianity, there are also basics. We teach the people because some of them don't know what this salvation is all about. And how are they going to live as born-again Christians? They don't know. So you have to begin from zero. And that is why the people we are sending to plant churches, there must be people whom we have trained enough. How to deal with non-believers, how to deal with the new converts, and how to deal with backsliders. Backsliders are very tricky because some of them may be knowing scriptures more than the pastor.
Right.
Yeah, because he was once there and he was a Christian and now he's come back. So dealing with such is very tricky because when you quote a wrong scripture, he will correct you. And you think that is a new convert. So it is discipleship. We begin to the basics. basics. What we don't do is we don't put anybody into leadership when he is a young believer. A young believer, we disciple them, we teach them the Word of God, and the level of commitment and the level of growth is when now you can assign them some work in the church.
Mm-hmm. So there's definitely a content to what you teach them, the basics of what reading the Bible,
Yes.
prayer, tithing, offerings, generosity.
Yes.
Kind of a whole basic Bible doctrines type thing.
And another challenge in Africa, and I can say Africa as a whole, is that some people come to church to be helped. They don't come to church to help. They come to church to be helped. So you'll find that you may have a bigger percentage with needs than those who will stand with you financially and other things.
Yeah.
And also doctrinally, there are some people who have eaten some poison. What I'm talking about is believing in tithing and also giving to church. And there are some who believe that pastors are exploiting them. And they are not, where is that God they are giving to? So there are some also who come already poisoned. Even paying tithes becomes a problem. Some of them, they have also, some people go even ahead of pastors in this social media and even in the media, Google and other things. They have gone ahead of pastors. And sometimes you get things which are not right or not sound in the internet. You get things which are not right. Somebody will write there, no more tithing. Tithing was on the low, but right now we are living in the dispensation of the grace. So tithing is a gone thing. So there are people who have eaten poison. So dealing with them is also very critical.
Would you say that also, so like I said, there's a content to Christianity, but there's also something that goes beyond just like head knowledge, making sure that becomes part of their life, right? You can teach somebody something, and they may have an understanding head knowledge, but there's a deeper level of understanding by, I think, doing life with somebody, whether you're praying with somebody, going and witnessing with somebody, doing ministry together with somebody, that you go deeper, it becomes part of you. It's not just head knowledge anymore. You know what I'm saying? That people really get it and they start to live it out.
Yeah, head knowledge sometimes dealing with it. Now in Africa, it is quite different in this essence. We are dealing with so many things. In America, you deal with the elite, people who are well informed, people who have gone to school, people who are well educated. So head knowledge is very critical and is a challenge here in the United States. But when you come to our country in Africa, there are many things that we're struggling with. One is traditions, the traditions of men. And now, like in Kenya, we have 42 tribes. There are more now. For all those 40 tribes, each tribe, they have a different traditions, a way of living. So you go to Maasai, you find that they have their own traditions basis. You come to Luo, where I was born, they have their own, and they are rooted in those traditions. And most of these traditions are not godly. Yeah, they are not Christian. So there are people who are also fighting Christianity because Christianity is doing away with their traditions. And those are challenges we are facing. Oh, yes, there are people who have gone to school also. There are people who have gone to school, and sometimes they challenge Christianity. Yeah, like right now in Kenya, the atheist came up the other day. I do believe that they have registered their organization right now. The atheists, they don't believe in God. They don't believe that God exists and other things. You see, and these people, you'll find that they are learned people. They are educated people. They are people who have gone to school. And they are well versed. So they capture the mind of students in university and other places. They capture their mind. So head knowledge is coming in powerfully.
Is that part of the Western culture coming to Kenya?
That is the norm.
So would you say that Kenyans are maybe moving towards not being as receptive to the gospel? I mean, or do you think they're staying about the same, or do you think they're becoming more receptive to the gospel?
It's getting that way.
Where they're becoming less receptive? It's becoming harder to lead people to Jesus?
If I know that you are superior, you are better than me, and I want to be like you, and you oppose to this, I will definitely oppose to the same, because I want to be like you. You are better than me, and I want to go your way. So Western is coming in a very, very, very powerful way. Western is coming in a very powerful way. Some of us in Africa, there are things we did not know. We did not know there are many things. Right now, we have the Illuminati, we have all these devil worship through money and other things are coming in, get rich quick is coming in, the quick fixes. You want to just come out of school and in a twinkling of an eye, you are a millionaire. You're driving Porsche cars. You're driving what? So that one is really getting in the mind of young men in our country. And these people, they know where they target. They target universities. They target high schools. They target, when they intercept these people from school, university, when they graduate, they don't only graduate with masters of science in what? They also graduate in Antichrist. Yeah, they just come out.
Really, they're targeting the young people.
Yes. Yeah, that is their target is young people in high school and at the university.
Why do you think it is that Kenyans are so receptive to the gospel? Why is it so easy, in a sense, compared to like America, to go in and preach the gospel and see people, give their lives to Jesus? Do you have any reasons why you think that's the case?
What I think is hardening Americans very much is because they have what it takes. And they feel that if you tell them about Christ, they will ask you, what do I need that without Christ I am? They have more than enough. They have everything. They have everything. Leave alone even those who are born again, giving their time to the gospel, giving their time to be in the church, giving their time to be at the Bible study. It is a struggle in the United States. It is really a struggle because they have what it takes. Not all, but generally, at least they have what it takes. Because even those who are on drugs, those who are, still they get some welfare monies, they still get some vouchers to go and do the shopping. They have food, but not in Africa.
The Kenyans have a harder life.
And Kenya, the level of poverty and joblessness sometimes bring people to a state of despair that you're desperate of something you don't know. So when you're told that Jesus can solve this problem, you just come in. Kenyans, the high cost of life has really made it difficult for them that they look for any other way of survival. Because you'll find that not many Kenyans have medical insurance. Now, what happens when you become sick and you don't have medical insurance, you don't have all these things? When you're told that if you believe in Christ, God will heal you, then that won't build their faith. They want to know this Christ. They want to go to Christ for their sickness to be healed because they don't have what it takes. Yeah, but look at America. America, almost everybody have a medical insurance. You go there, the insurance will take care of anything. And that is why you hear of surgery every now and then. Everything that happens, surgery. It is not in Kenya.
Really?
That people face the surgeons that easily.
Wow.
You face surgeons easily because you have what it takes. And these things have hardened the hearts of the people because of what they have and the position they hold. But now, somebody in Kenya only have faith. Said, if God will not heal me, I will not be healed. Yeah, I don't have anywhere to go. Those who have money and have medical insurance, you hear them say, we are taking our patient to India. We are flying our patient to such a place. We are taking them to this hospital, and that hospital, admission alone, bed every day, is a lot of money. You cannot facilitate that from your pocket. You cannot give it. And some result in fundraising. Right now we have WhatsApp. So they form the WhatsApp group to raise money for medication. Yeah. So now the easiest way, the only open door for free in Africa is the door to believe in Christ. They don't have any option.
Yeah.
They don't have any option.
That's amazing.
Yeah. But their rejection is also there.
Yeah.
Yeah, rejection is also there.
That's right. Well, George, we've enjoyed having you here. It's good to have you on the podcast. And we had a great time on Sunday. I really enjoyed your visit with us. So thanks for coming and being with us.
May God bless you so much. We will meet again. I will come back again.
Sounds good.
If God open doors for me to come, I will come back again. And also, remember, we invite you to come, not only to hear what is happening in Kenya, but to see, to be a witness that this one is happening. This one is happening. Thank you so much, Pastor.
That's great.
I'm honored to be in your broadcast.
Thank you.
May God bless you.
Amen. Thank you for listening to this podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend. Look forward to seeing you next time.